5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time to count down reality TV's most talked about moments with Amanda Bella. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bella Talks TV. This is Amanda Bella, and you guys are here for a milestone landmark event. This is my first ever bonus episode, and I'm going for like a Bella After Dark night. You can see I'm in the office. I got my little LED lights on. I'm having myself a glass of Pinot Noir from the Oregon Valley. And fun fact about me, I do love an Oregon red. And I just kind of want to like keep this really loose and casual. I want to be able to give you guys like a little bit more content where you can get to know me better and where we can just have like more of an off the script, off the cuff convo, something a little bit more in depth, because on my main feed show, which I'm still thinking like these episodes are going to be on the main feed for a little while. I don't think I'm strong enough to where I can be on a Patreon and be expecting everybody to like go over there for me quite yet. But hopefully, manifesting big goals here. Hopefully I will get there one day. But for now, these episodes will be available on the main feed. And this is really just for me to get more practice and just to have a little bit more time with you guys. And on the main feed show, I feel like I'm jumping around topic to topic, and I try to spend anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes per topic. So I can really be bumping around. I got the OMG, I got the LOL, I got stuff in the intro, I got the top 5 countdown. I'm all over the place. But I'm hoping for these episodes, for these bonus episodes, and again, if you're here watching on the YouTube, say hello to Candy. She's roaming into the camera currently. Here she is. Oh, yes. Say hello, Puff. Say hello. I think over time, like she'll get more used to me being in the office. Like she can't handle like being away from me. She's going to sit down right in front of me here now. Great. Okay, good job, Angel. Sorry, guys. Like me and Candy are a package deal. So if you don't want to have the dog content, I suggest I don't know if I'm the girl for you. It's not going to be constant, but she pops in like per episode. She is my co-host. So the point for these episodes is for me to get in a little bit deeper, spend a little bit more time like dissecting some things and allowing myself to kind of get into a transcendental state of talking about some of these things and these items, because I want to make sure that like I'm getting all my thoughts out. I'm getting everything I have to say out about these people, and I'm really flexing this muscle because, again, this has to do with other goals that I want to reach and things I want to do within this podcasting hemisphere. And this is important for me. So it's good public speaking. It's good practice. And I'm just keeping it real with you guys that this has a lot of different purposes why I'm here to do this. Fame isn't really one of them. I'm not really looking to be famous. But I am looking, to just have this creative outlet, and I talk about that with you guys a lot. So we're going to see. Right now I'm compiling a list of items I want to discuss with you guys. I've got my little pen and I've got my little paper, and I'm writing a list, and I'm trying to decide, okay, like if I'm going to release another episode per week, or how I'm going to break these things up. Like a couple new things I'm introducing into the rotation of my content will be these bonus episodes. And then also on my Instagram, of course, I'm just always trying to pump up the content, pump up the reels, pump up the clips from the podcast going out to promote the YouTube. I'm out here, I'm hustling, and I know that there's more that I could do still, and that is the sad part. And one thing that I need to be doing more of, again, is collaborating with guests. And I was on the Bravo Outsider podcast, which was great, and that was a really good like practice collaborating and having a co-host kind of. And now today, actually, I was supposed to be recording with Ryan Bailey from So Bad It's Good. And he wasn't feeling well, so we rescheduled for next week. But that's okay. Like I'm starting to get these leads and getting these opportunities to be collaborating with others And I just have a lot of work to do. Like, I'm not a professional TV host. Like, one thing I need to do is just be, again, like, I am a yoga teacher too. If you guys didn't know that, in my spare time, I just part-time teach here and there. I don't do that full time, but it's something that I really love to do, and I love to practice as well. And it's been something that's been in my life for like a decade and a half. And when I teach, I really also like do that to practice public speaking, building confidence, feeling like I can lead a room, feeling that I can, because I want to be able to hopefully host things and get out there into this world. And I have to practice really not only being like, one big thing for me is like I read back or I watch back these episodes, and it's like I know that I have a kind of a thick, weird accent, which reminds me of my mom, because my mom was born also in Michigan, but my grandpa was in the Navy and they moved to Europe and lived there for most of my mom's life. And they lived in Scotland and some other places in the UK, I think. And then when they came and they lived down in the South, my mom came from Scotland, Michigan to Scotland to living in the South. And she got kind of this crazy accent. And then a bunch of my other family live in Minnesota and North Dakota, which again, it's very all these like strong Michigan, Northern, Midwestern accents. So between there, then I lived in Chicago for 10 years. Now I'm in New York on Long Island, basically, which everybody has these strong New York accents. So it's a lot. So I'm working on just people being able to understand me. Do you know, hello, can you hear me? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, so hopefully you do. And again, these episodes, I just want to like be able to kind of get on here, ramble, warm up, like get to know you guys better. And leave me comments, like, especially if you're on the YouTube, like leave me comments on this episode on what you would love to hear me talk about. Is there a bonus episode that you would love to hear me ramble on about? Like, the point of these bonus episodes is to get in here, Bella after dark, got my glass of wine, hanging out, just being like I'm just hanging out with you guys like on like a FaceTime. It's kind of like how I try to feel. So, I know you guys are all anticipating, like, what is this episode going to be about? Like, is she going to literally just talk about nothing? Maybe. But no. I am really missing Vanderpump Rules. And Ariana was kind of filling that void for me a little bit on Love Island USA hosting. But now that is over, I'm really feeling it. I'm really feeling like it's almost like being homesick. Like, I miss my family. And Vanderpump Rules is a very important show to me. It was not my gateway to Bravo. I was always already way in deep with Housewives by the time Vanderpump Rules came around. So I think it was just like that fresh. It just really like hit me fresh because I loved Housewives so much. And I already was so involved in the Bravo culture that when they had that connecting scene from Vanderpump Rules into Real Housewives with Brandy and Sheena discussing their affair over Eddie Cibrian, aka Leanne Rimes' husband, that was all extremely fascinating to me. And I was about, okay, what year? Let's find out what year VPR actually premiered. Hold on one moment. Okay, it's so funny that as we are talking about this, I opened up my phone. I had a text from my husband. He didn't know I was recording a bonus episode. He knew I already recorded this week. He's a Pooh Bear. He really supports me. He reminds me, like, he wants nothing to do with being on camera, being on Instagram, nothing. He's very just private and like normal like that. But he doesn't hate that I do it, and he supports it. He doesn't fully understand it. I think he's a little skeptical of like how big this world is and how important these podcasts are to Bravo and reality TV culture. So, I don't blame him. It's almost, it sounds crazy to anybody that would be like, what do you do? I'm like, oh yeah, I have a Bravo podcast. Like the Watch What Crappens guys talk about that. They have the #1 reality TV recap podcast in the world. And they talk about this all the time, how they'll get into an Uber or they'll be talking to their family or something, and they'll talk about what they do. And people look at them like they are crazy and they have 3 heads. And it's like, no matter how big you are, how successful you are, people are not going to understand it. And you have to just tune them out. You have to stay laser focused on your goals. don't worry about what anybody thinks. And there always has to be this thin veil of being a little bit delusional, just like with being president. Like you have to be a little bit delusional to think that you can be the president. So kind of like with having a podcast, you have to be a little bit delusional to think that people would want to listen to you. And the best part is that people do. And because I'm such a podcast consumer myself, and I listen to hours and hours and hours of podcasts per day, I get it, because I also listen to random people and feel connected to them. So it's just a very weird, like self-fulfilling positive prophecy. And which usually it would be like a self-sabotage that would come true for me. But actually this is something that like I'm manifesting for myself and it's going well. So back to Vanderpump Rules. I was about to check my phone to see what year Vanderpump Rules started so I could like kind of gauge where I was in life. And I opened my phone to see this article that says Jax Taylor seeking inpatient treatment for mental health. Jax Taylor is taking time for himself and seeking inpatient treatment for mental health struggles. This amid his ongoing split from his wife, Brittany. Blah, blah, blah. He made the decision to seek inpatient treatment. This is particularly sensitive for him and his family. They asked for his privacy. There's some photos of some books. Okay, so let's have like a little bit of a live reaction to this. So Jax, my man, okay, for him to be going into an inpatient rehab facility, it's not for substance abuse, but I imagine he's using substances. So that's one thing. The other thing is, okay, Jax has always had this problem. He's always had a sprained brain. He's always struggled with feeling comfortable in his own skin, feeling confident, and pushing himself to be a successful and to live up to his own potential. And I think he knows that. When his dad died, that became when he really pushed himself to be the best version of himself. He wanted to make his father proud. And those were the best years of Jax that we saw. That was when I really saw, like, he does have a heart of gold. He does. But I think he really struggles. And he also, one thing we have to remember as an audience is that these guys do lean into their character roles. So Jax knew that the character that he was, given through VPR was kind of like who we wanted to see, and he would lean in, and he would have some of these revelations throughout the seasons, when he would cheat, or like when his father died, or these huge things that happened in Jax's life that caused him to have these huge revelations. We've seen them all. He's showed us everything, and that is why I'm a huge Jax stan. So with that being said, I hope that Jax obviously is getting the help that he needs. And I really hope that he actually does feel, Valley cameras are up right now. So this is very possible that we're going to see this all unfold on the show. It could be a big reason why he went to rehab. Maybe maybe the stress of filming and this stuff being exposed pushed him to a place where he just really couldn't do it anymore. Whatever got him to this point, I'm thinking of you, little Jax. I love you, buddy, my little Michigan buddy. So yeah, without going back, let's still reverse back in time a little bit. Let's go back to still finding out what year Vanderpump Rules started. Let's see here, Vanderpump Rules. I know, Candy. Okay, Vanderpump Rules 2013. I was living in Chicago. What is time? Okay, 2013, living in Chicago. I was born in 1987. How old was I? I can't even figure that out. So whatever. I was living in Chicago. I was young. When it started, I was into it from the beginning. And it's funny because I always had a roommate or a boyfriend or somebody that I lived with for, most of the years that I lived in Chicago. I lived alone for like 2 or 3 of the 10 years I was there. So most years I had a roommate or a partner that I was living with. And we always had cable. Like I remember my one girlfriend, Lindsay, I lived with. She is a childhood, basically like a high school friend of mine that also moved to Chicago. And she had a cable box and a TiVo and everything. And I would be able to record whatever I wanted. And that's how I would never miss a Bravo show because I would always be able to record things. And then I remember too, there was back in the day when Bravo TV used to let you stream full episodes on the website. This was back before streaming. This is basically, I think only Netflix existed yet. That was like the first streaming platform. So this is back when if you wanted to watch something that wasn't on TV, that you either had to like TiVo, record, watch on demand through your cable box, or you can go to the website, and if you had a login or you had a cable login, you could watch full episodes. And I would sit on my lunch break at work or sit at home and sometimes watch it on the computer, and I'd be able to watch full episodes for free. So there was never really a span in time where I didn't have cable, be able to record episodes. And I just was always down bad and in deep with Bravo from the beginning. And The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and Bachelor Paradise and all that. And then also The Kardashians. I would never miss an episode of that. And just all of this stuff. Jersey Shore and so many iconic reality TV shows that I just always made sure I recorded, watched, kept up with. And for some reason, there's only how many hours in a week. I'm about probably 80% of them watching television and talking about it. And that's just the life that I've chosen for myself. So, okay, so back to VPR. 2013 VPR premieres. We all know that it came on the tail end of Real Houses of Beverly Hills. And the main trifecta of the beginning of Vanderpump Rules really was Jax, Sandoval, and Stassi. Because Jax and Stassi were the queen bee and the king of this friend group, this entire cast, staff, everything at SUR. So they were kind of like running shit, and everybody looked to them to know what to do. And, Jax wasn't a great bartender, but he was kind of like a shifty, friend, boyfriend, and was just like enigmatic to watch. And he was just known for being like, okay, I'm here to just kind of do the bare minimum. I'm kind of a dick. I give off like bad boy vibes. Like that was definitely Jax. That was Jax's MO. And then we have the opposite to that, which was Sandoval. Sandoval wanted to do good. He wanted to impress people. He wanted to be known for giving a fuck. He wanted to be known for being a good guy. And he was kind of the opposite of Jax. They're besties. And they've been friends for many, many years, lived together, Sandoval's had this apartment for all these years. And that old, crusty, dusty, disgusting apartment. Oh my God, that should be a national landmark and or demolished and blown apart. I don't know what needs to be done there. So Sandoval is there. And Sandoval is just also a very important key part. He keeps the wheels moving. He keeps a lot of the storyline moving. And he, in the beginning, was so likable. He was so damn likable. And we never knew all these years later that he would be one of these people that we would unfortunately, I think, lose to fame. Fame affects everybody in different ways that are on these reality TV shows, and not everybody processes it the same way. And Sandoval is a very interesting case when it comes to that. So we have Sandoval, we have Jax, and then we have Stassi. So again, there's no show, there's no VPR without Stassi. Although we didn't have her for all episodes, and I'm not even a Stassi fan. You can't deny that she's, again, a very important piece to all of this. She's the biggest cog in this machine. And I think that she, just found a way to be able to demand all of the eyes of a room, like a tornado of energy around her, like, who's that girl? And not always even in a positive way. Like, even if it was because she was yelling at somebody and it was like, yo, who's that loud girl over there? Like, sometimes that was Stassi too. Wasn't always about, she wasn't always classy. But she had that balance where she knew, like, she wasn't ratchet. She would just be really good reality TV trash. So whatever the crosses of like trash and class, that was kind of Stassi vibes. So between Jax, Stassi, and Sandoval, that was really the foundation of this show. And I know you guys are thinking like, well, what about Sheena? Like, there would be no show without Sheena either. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I can't rewrite history. I think, of course, there would be no show without Sheena. If Sheena didn't get involved with Brandy's husband, then there wouldn't have been probably the idea maybe sparked from Lisa Vanderpump. Like, Lisa is a very innovative, creative producer. Did she see this moment, or was she already shopping the idea of a Sir TV show to Bravo? Because we know that she is well known to do this. She is a woman of many ideas. Was she already wanting to have a show on Bravo, and then this stuff happened to happen coincidentally? Who knows? Like, we'll never really know. So, I mean, okay, so we have, again, let's talk about the beginning of the show. So Brandy sits down with Sheena. Sheena's explaining how she got involved with Eddie. Eddie's married to Brandy. We all know the lore and the story of Vanderpump Rules. Now, Sheena and Stassi obviously don't really get along right away. They're battling to be the queen bees of this group. And although Sheena has worked there longer and I think seems to kind of have more of a natural position to be a leader in the Sir world as a manager or what have you, a shift leader, it really is Stassi that is able to run shit there. And Sheena knows this. Stassi knows this. Neither of them are ever going to be able to like break this dynamic. And I think that Sheena, unfortunately, from the beginning has always just came off really like she calls herself cringe. And I mean, that is the best word. But you can do cringe in a way where it does make you at least really like laugh and kind of like laugh with them, not at them. But we're just always laughing at Sheena. Unfortunately, this girl can't catch a break, and she can't break away from her own self-destruction with that. She just goes every season on a warpath to be unlikable. And I know that maybe she's trying to be this new shade of villain that we've never seen before. This really likable, cutesy villain who, you know, I don't know if it's like stage mom, I don't know, villain. It's like LA. It's very LA coded, like trying to be an actress, trying to put Summer into like child acting. Brock's trying to act. They're doing acting things together. Like, they are a Hollywood family. So it's just, Sheena is very LA and very West Coast. And if I were to meet her, like, I'm trying to think, besides BravoCon, I'm sure I was in the room with her there. But I'm going to this emo music festival in Las Vegas in October, and that's so Sheena coded. I wonder if she would be there. So if I were to meet her, I'm sure I would love her and probably be like, okay, we're BFFs. But, you know, she's not my favorite right now. I will say that. She's just not my favorite right now. I would love to see a little bit more growth from her. I actually just saw that she won an award for OCD awareness. That's great. That's great, girl. But the biggest part about being, I can't even go into this. The biggest part about being mentally ill is getting help and growing and hopefully like getting, I don't want to say getting better because it's like, it's a spectrum, but I'm going to need her to also not be Sheena OCD forever. So, okay, we'll see about that. And then, of course, this leads us to getting into Kristen, because Kristen is the number one side freak show of this show that, to me, I feel like, there'd be no Sheena without Stassi. These are the main women of UPR. I disagree. Kristen, to me, is the main woman of this show. She is a legend. She has so many iconic one-liners. She has so many iconic like drunken fights with people. She has so many iconic friend fights, relationships. She just really brought so much authenticity and just downright dirty, like, I can just feel it in my bones, reality TV rawness. Like, even in the Valley, she's bringing that over there too. Like, it's just, you cannot beat Kristen. Kristen is the GOAT, and she was on that show, The GOAT, and she didn't win, and she should have won because she, to me, is the GOAT of reality TV. She is so good and just so willing to be herself, and we see her grow, but it's not, unfortunately, enough where we can quite tip our hat to her yet. We're like, okay, okay, Kristen, we see you staying alive over there, but we're going to need you to level up a little bit. And Luke is holding her back. I mean, this man is Vincent Van Gogh. We need her to rehab herself and her image at least enough where she could maybe pull a Lala and just have a baby on her own, or start dating. Like, I think if she really tried to stop dating somebody who would be on TV with her, she'd be able to find somebody who would really love her for her. Because she's great. Kristen's a cool girl. Mariposa. The Mariposa Kristen scenes have got to be some of the funniest. Everyone talks about Brittany like rotten hell, or James's it's not about the pasta. Kristen's Mariposa caca has got to be the most underrated LOL of the entire VPR franchise. So we went over Jack, Sandy, Stassi, just getting introduced to everybody here. And we have to get into Katie and Schwartz too, because again, so important. So I didn't really care about Katie and Schwartz for many seasons. I didn't find them important enough to care about, or what does Lisa say? I didn't find them important enough to hate, but I didn't find myself loving watching them, rooting for them, wanting them to stay together, wanting them to even be on the show. Like, I was very like indifferent towards them, but also like leaned towards maybe a world without them. Their wedding is haunting and probably some of the darkest reality TV I've ever seen. Yikers. They got married out in those woods, remember? They got married out in the woods. Katie sent those tea towels. Schwartz complained about every single dollar that was spent. The night before, for the rehearsal dinner, they did a tacos and tequila night. Katie couldn't fit into her dress the next day. It just looked like everybody was getting ticks out there. And then, I'm sorry, and it's not good. I feel safe because this is a bonus episode, even though it's not behind a paywall. Hopefully the people that are here are like the real ones. But I hated Katie's wedding dress. I actually liked Sheena's crop top wedding dress. That's very me-coded. Hated Katie's lace, long sleeve, mermaid, hot. Wasn't it like August in California? Oh, no. And then Schwartz was taking the shower / bath in the lake that morning of the wedding. Oh my God. And they didn't have sex, I think, for an entire year or something after they were married. It is wild what reality TV will do to you. Like, it will make you do the most insane things ever. Make you date people, make you do things, jump off of buildings, jump out of planes, go to different countries, like do illegal things. It is just like, oh my God, what people will do. So, of course, another key component to Vanderpump Rules is Lisa Vanderpump, and I'm a pretty big Lisa Vanderpump head. I love going. So I'm a big Vegas head too. So when I go to Vegas, it's very LVP everywhere. It's, like I'm so everywhere. I'm so LVP. Oh my gosh. I've had Brat stuck in my head all summer. But okay, so LVP, she is very important to this entire, masterpiece too. Again, I don't know if this was all her idea or not, but she seemed to kind of piece this all together. Vanderpump Villa was a flop for me. It was definitely dramatic, but it was not good. I didn't like it. So I didn't like that. And then she also was on this other show, like Food Stars with Gordon Ramsay. I also love Gordon Ramsay, but I haven't watched that show. I haven't been bored. I haven't run out of enough TV yet where I've thrown that show on yet. And so LVP is just running shit around this restaurant. She has she used to have Villa Blanca, that's closed now. She used to have Pump, that's closed now. They have Tom Tom. And then she has Wolf in Tahoe, which is new and open within the last year. And then they have then in Vegas, they have the one in Paris, LVP Paris, Vanderpump Paris. I've had drinks there many times, fucking delicious and expensive. But honestly, when you live in New York, it's all the same. Delicious cocktails. Love it there. I love staying at Paris too. So there's there. And then, the original one there, which is Vanderpump Gardens in Caesars, Vanderpump Palace or whatever it's called. You guys, I went to that place once when it first opened, and I first met my husband before we were really even official. Came into Vegas and he was like, I'll take you out like wherever you want to go. And I was like, I'm dying to go to Lisa Vanderpump's new place. And we went. He was like, can you make a reservation or what? I'm like, yeah, I think so. So I made it really early. You know, I didn't even know what to expect. This was a really long time ago. And this is the one in Caesars, the original location. And I booked the table and we get there. It's normal. We end up sitting at the bar because it's really empty. And they were like, okay, like pretty much just sit at the bar because it's easier for everybody. We're like, okay, fine. Sitting at the bar, chilling, relaxing. And then all of a sudden, who comes in and sits down at the bar at a little table next to us? Lala and Rand. So, of course, I'm flipping out, naturally. I was a huge Lala fan at the time, and I still am. I want my girl to, like, get her shit together. But I was flipping out that Rand and Lala were there. You know, Rand is the big Vegas guy. He plays a bunch of poker. My husband, I think, has played poker with him before. It was really crazy to see them. I actually have one blurry photo on my phone somewhere. Like, I didn't want to be too obvious, but I think I took, like, one picture of them walking away that day. So that was how long ago that was. This was way before Ocean, way before pregnancy, way before engagement even. Like they were just like in their dating phase. It's kind of crazy. So I saw them in the flesh. And then what else does Lisa have? She has the Wolf. She has the Vanderpump Paris, blah, blah, blah. I think that's it because I'm thinking of something about her. I'm thinking about Schwartz and Sandy's. Those are not her places. Okay, so I think that those are all of her places. And now she has a new place opening in the Flamingo in Vegas called Pinky's. That was just announced yesterday. So I can't wait to go there too. And that's going to also open in the fall. And I'm thinking they're going to be filming Vanderpump Rules for sure for that. Because right now, Ariana just got back to the U.S. from Love Island, from Fiji. And she immediately went back into Roxy rehearsals. I think she had like 2 days in between. She was on her Instagram yesterday saying that the Roxy rehearsals back on Chicago for her to get back into her role there went great. And they're excited to have her back. So again, I was going to look up like how long she's on there. I don't want to bore you guys. It might take me a second. Let's see. Chicago, Ariana. It says Ariana Maddox returns as Roxy Hart. Oh, for 1 month, you guys. Okay, this is good. I looked up August 1st to September 1st. So you can see on here that it's only for 1 month. So she's going to be able to start filming probably September 2nd. No, it's Labor Day weekend. They probably give them it off. Oh, that's also when Lala is due. So cameras might be back up for Lala's birth, Ariana coming back from Broadway, living in her new her new house, which looks sick. Schwartz and his girlfriend have been filming, I think, for The Valley. And also, I mean, that's just a rumor. Maybe I don't know if I just made that up. That just came out. I don't know why I think that. Maybe they've just been hanging out with Jax in The Valley. Maybe Sophia's going to film for Vanderpump Rules. Who else do we got on that show still? Katie. She's still friends with Ariana, going to be on there for sure. Sheena's never going anywhere. Sheena, Brock, they'll be back. And then, of course, I mean, Sandoval, like, they're going to keep continuing, I think, to work with him. He's going to really need to get his shit together. I would really like to have more Kyle Chan. I think that he's like an elusive side figure that could potentially be involved in a lot of the drama. And bring Billy back. Put a fucking mic on her. I would love to see her talking shit. So yeah, speaking of Ariana, we're kind of moving into like the second like tier, like the new era of VPR that comes in. So Jax, Stassi, Sandoval, Sheena, Kristen, and Katie and Schwartz, they kind of get this shit all going at Sir. They're all dating each other. They're all fucking. I mean, you guys don't have to hear me recap what happens in Vanderpump Rules. Like, you already know. But I'm really just kind of trying to talk about this stuff to kind of just like see where I'm feeling and figuring out like what I think is going to happen for next season. So, okay, Katie and Schwartz, they're obviously divorced. Going back to like the new era. Okay, so then there was a time when then Sandoval obviously broke up with Kristen and they were done, finally, because he cheated on Kristen with Ariana in the Golden Nugget pool. And he sat down with Stassi in that disgusting apartment where you couldn't put the microwave on in the apartment at the same time as air conditioning. And they sat down and he admitted it. And that was pretty much the end of the end. Kristen hung on for like a little while, but at that point you could tell Sandoval was moved on emotionally, physically, mentally, everything. And who wants to be with a guy when you know that they are indeed in love and or fucking someone else? Like, let's all be honest, ladies. Like, ladies, am I right? We don't want that. So they forced her to kind of move on with her life. And then two things happened. Sandoval went on to be with Ariana, and we were so happy. Like, she was bitchy Barbie, and she wasn't the most liked character ever. But that's why we liked her, because she kind of served like cunty realness, and she gave us a lot of important fights with, reading Jax, reading Lala several times. Of course, telling Sandoval when he was being an idiot. Her and Kristen obviously had this longtime rivalry. And then her and Sheena had this like best frenemy where they would go in and out, two of these like huge fights. So her dynamics with everybody have been very interesting. And she has not by any means been just sitting back collecting a check on her ass. So she has showed us a lot. And I'm not going to lie, you guys, like, ooh, there's also something to me about the fact that Lala and Ariana hooked up. And I'm going to say this, like, I don't know what it's like to be them. But I personally, this is again just me. I think guy, girl, no matter what, if you have sex with somebody and or hook up with somebody in a sexual way like that, like they did, it's like hooking up with a guy. Like, it just because they were two girls, like you get kind of like feelings for them. You have kind of this exchange of energy, and there's just like a natural heightened amount that you care about this person. And I think that Ariana and Lala, both being basically bisexual women that have hooked up and talked about this before, I actually think that they could possibly have some like unresolved feelings for each other. And that could be really like overstepping my boundaries. Again, I hope that we're kind of like behind the paywall here. I don't want to speculate, but again, I just like get vibes like that from her. I also get vibes like that from Lala and James. Lala and James, I think, also have the same undeniable long-time chemistry, physical, emotional, spiritual. They are each other's people. And I think that if James looked differently, that Lala probably would have been with him and could have been a power couple with him, making music, being sober, doing all of these things. So there's just so many different dynamics within these friends groups. It's really, really crazy. So we have Ariana. She's with Sandoval for many, many years. Obviously, we know the Rachel of it all. Lala, though, Lala comes on so crazily, for lack of a better word. She came out of nowhere, but also was exactly what we needed that season, and season 4, I believe. She comes in. She's a hostess. She has, at the time, is single, but like has men that she's dating and seen. And she just comes off immediately. Ooh, puffer. And she just comes off immediately like kind of like a brat Summer. Like, she comes off like entitled. She comes off gold digger, and it really is like you can't deny it. It's like if the shoe fits. Like sucking D for Range Rovers, we all know it was more than that too. When she got pregnant with Rand, I think she really thought she did the damn thing. It's like Gypsy getting pregnant with Ken. Like she trapped this man, and then it's like, okay, but wait, now you have to be with this person and have a baby with them. Did you think about this fully yet? Now, Rand, I think, is actually a good father. I actually follow him on Instagram. He has the two other little girls. He's a girl dad. So I try to follow up with them because I feel like Lala is blocked, and if something were to go down, I need to like be spying on him to tell my girl. Okay, we have Lisa. Let's go back to Lisa for a minute. So Lisa puts all these people together. She hires all these people. I think some of them were long-standing for many, many years. Some of them were probably hired for the show and casted. But the show is pretty authentic. And the most authentic part of this show is that Sir Alley. Like, if you've ever worked in the industry, you know what it's like to have like an alley where everybody smokes outside. that whole place gives me shivers. So Lisa really owns these restaurants. She really employs these people. This is like a real functioning place that goes on every day. And like sometimes I do think about that. It's beyond VPR. Peter is there right now managing. He just clocked in for his shift. So he has things to do. So Ariana, she's kind of an OG. She's been at Villa Blanca. She's been there for like 10 years. So she was new to us, but not new to the environment. Lala, new to the whole environment, comes on like with Rand in her back pocket already, but she fucks around with James. She fucks around and finds out with James. I mean, I get it. Like Lala overcompensates doing her like black scent, and she gets really ghetto and ratchet, and the way she speaks can be really Compton, and just, it's like, who are you trying to fool here? And I'm not sure if it's a character that she puts on, kind of like Paris Hilton, where it's like, that's not really her. I think when she's home, I would like to think that's, again, like Paris Hilton, where the voice comes off, the mask slips. Like, I would like to think that that's not totally how she is all the time. But then I look at her brother, Easton, which you guys know if you follow me on Instagram. Like, I have my own personal gripes against Easton. He's a white guy with dreads. And, like, they both just culturally appropriate. Like, that's like what they do. And I don't know if this is like a Utah thing. I don't know if this is like a West Hollywood thing. I don't know where they're getting their culture from. But I almost feel like they're both just like plain roles. They look like Bart and Lisa Simpson. Like, I don't know who they are. So I just still, though, am compelled to watch them. And it's funny how desperate Lala is. Like, it's funny how a lot of reality show people think that they can just produce their own shows. And they're like, oh, I'm so interesting. Like, I could have my own show. And it's not that. Like, you're part of an ensemble cast. Like, we really don't give a fuck enough to watch you every single week for an hour and just you babbling around your apartment with like your Send It to Daryl hoodies on. It's not about that. It's not that we don't think you're interesting, but like we don't think you deserve your own show. But I think she's constantly shopping her own show around. So is Sheena with Brock building things and all kinds of stuff. Jax was known to do that, shopping shows around. It's like, can you guys just do your one job and do it great? Like, you're already on a show. Like, why don't you knock that show out of the park? Like, you have other shows to worry about. Quit trying to sell new shows. My one guy that doesn't do that, my main guy is James Kennedy. Now, we know this is a controversial figure. He comes on too, causes quite a ruckus and a ripple throughout this friend group. And James, I see a very, very wounded, psychologically traumatized male. I would go as far to say as he probably has some really deep cuts trauma-wise that he's unwilling to face. And it's very obvious he uses substances to mask this and get through things in life. He doesn't lean on them anymore, but now he's addicted to DJing, and he's clearly addicted to love and love bombing. I'm not 100% sure what is really going on with James Kennedy and who he really is. But I will say that, again, I want cameras on him. I want to continue to see. And I want to continue to see him win and grow. Like, I don't wish anything bad on him. I do believe that he has been probably physically and for sure verbally and emotionally abusive to his exes in the past. As a survivor of a domestic abuse relationship, I see a lot of James Kennedy in my ex, and I have a lot of just theories, and I'm like, I studied this man for a long time, many theories on why I think he treated me the way he did. So let's just say I don't take it personally. I think that these men, it's like, really, what's wrong with them? So I don't condone any physical violence. Obviously, like what I went through, what any woman or any man in a domestic violence relationship goes through is fucked up and uncalled for. But it does happen. And I think James probably allegedly did these things that we hear about. But I'm hoping that he recently has grown and learned and hasn't done anything. And all I can hope is that James continues to stay on this sober path. Like, sobriety is so important in a lot of these Bravo celebrities now. And I think it's really important to call that out and acknowledge that they are kind of on a different path and journey in life. And I come from a family that have people in the AA program, and I see what it's like. And you just have to give a lot of grace and try to understand, like, what these people are living with every single day, and give thanks and be grateful for the things that you don't have to struggle with. So I do that with James. I do that a lot with a lot of these characters, including Jax, who we know is currently in a mental health facility. So yeah, so that's kind of just like a quick beginning rundown of Vanderpump Rules. And I know that there's like so much to go in about this, but I really just wanted to kind of just start with a little quickie and finding like my train of thought about some of these shows and like where I stand with everybody. So again, before we go, let me go into some predictions for next season. Like, we have Sheena and Brock. I mean, we're going to continue to see Summer Moon. She's really trying to get Summer Moon to happen. We're going to see Sandoval continuing to date, hang out with Kyle Chan, struggle. He still lives in the house. Ariana, thank God, is out now. That entire storyline is going to be over, and we're not going to have to deal with this freaking storyline anymore about this house. I'm going to be loving it. We're going to have Katie working on the sandwich shop with Ariana, obviously. We're going to have Schwartz continuing to date and what's going on with him and the Sophia girl. I would love to see Schwartz. Well, I guess they have Schwartz and Sandy. So I was going to say, I would love to see him have some kind of business venture and some way to make money and have a thing off of the show. Jax, God bless. He's not on VPR anymore, but just thinking about him. Okay, so who else is on VPR? Lala. For next season of VPR, I would love to see a couple people on the show again, like Dana and Max. I would love to bring them back. James, Allie, we know they're going to be involved in the mix. Okay, yeah, we had Lala. I mean, Brock was so messy boots last season. Like, I can't tell if I love him or hate him. I think I fucking hate him. But I also low-key, I'm like, he really had a lot of storyline moving last season too. Okay, so yeah, so that was just a little cast rundown. I wanted just to break into some VPR chat. This probably wasn't like that great of an episode. I didn't really prepare very many notes and really know where this is going to take me. If I was going to break down like the full history of VPR and like go through that would take me like 6 hours. So I think this was just like a little bit just to get our little whistle wet and to get you guys missing these people and thinking about what they're going to be doing. And again, the biggest revelation of this episode was that we found out Ariana will be done filming or being on Broadway September 1st. So keep your eyes peeled for cameras up out in WeHo. All right, bye guys. This was a great episode. Thanks for being here, and I love you. Ciao, Bellas.